3,000 years had passed since humanity had been cast out from the stars. Once, humans were known across the galaxy as a powerful civilization, skilled in science, strategy, and exploration. Their fleets had patrolled countless star systems, their colonies thriving on hundreds of planets, and their ideas shaping the destiny of multiple civilizations. But that was long ago. The Galactic Council, an alliance of the galaxy's most advanced species, had seen humanity as a threat. Fearing their rapid growth and remarkable intelligence, they conspired to destroy humanity's influence. Through political maneuvering, sabotage, and overwhelming force, the Council had forced humans to retreat to hidden corners of space. Entire worlds were abandoned, fleets destroyed, and colonies erased. Humanity had fallen, but not completely. On the remote planet of Arendor, a world cloaked in mist and hidden behind asteroid belts, humanity had survived. Arendor's surface was harsh with jagged mountains and deep shadowed valleys, yet humans had adapted. Cities were carved into the stone, powered by technologies long forgotten by the rest of the galaxy. Over millennia, humans learned to hide, to evolve, and to prepare. Their defeat had become their greatest teacher. Among the inhabitants of Arendor was Adira Kale, a young historian and prodigy in technology. Her curiosity often led her to places forbidden or forgotten by others. Today she walked through the ruins of an ancient city, her boots crunching on dust-covered metal and stone. Her eyes were fixed on a peculiar structure, an old observatory, one that had been abandoned for centuries. Inside, the air smelled of rust and old machinery. Sunlight barely reached through the cracks in the walls. Adira's fingers traced the surface of a console, dust shifting under her touch. Her heart raced as she noticed faint inscriptions on the panel, signs of a language she had only read about in old texts. This can't be," she whispered, brushing away layers of dust. The console flickered to life under her touch, as if recognizing her presence. Holographic projections filled the room, casting pale blue light onto the walls. Star maps, diagrams, and data streams floated before her eyes. She stepped closer, awe filling her chest. At the center of the projection was a small crystalline object. It pulsed gently, sending waves of light across the room. Adira reached out, and as her fingers touched the crystal, information flooded her mind. It was a relic from the Council itself, a record of their fleets, technologies, and strategies stored secretly during humanity's darkest days. Her breath caught. "They thought we would never see this," she murmured. The knowledge in the crystal was beyond anything humanity currently had. The Council's secrets, their weaknesses, and their arrogance were all revealed here. For the first time in 3,000 years, humans had a chance to fight back. Adira ran her fingers across the holograms, absorbing every detail. She saw the locations of Council strongholds, the hierarchy of their fleets, and even the names of leaders who had orchestrated humanity's downfall. Each revelation fueled a fire within her, a fire that had been dormant for millennia. She raced back to Arendor's central city, her mind alive with ideas and plans. The city was a marvel of human ingenuity, built into the mountains with energy shields and hidden passages. Humans had learned to survive, not just through strength but through intelligence and stealth. Every citizen knew the stories of the past, the betrayal, the loss, and the promise of a return. In the city's council chamber, leaders gathered as Adira presented her discovery. Her voice trembled with excitement. "The Council believes we are weak, scattered, and forgotten. But here in this crystal is proof of their arrogance. We have their secrets, their locations, and their weaknesses. Humanity can rise again." For a moment, silence filled the chamber. Then one of the elder leaders, Commander Rail Thorn, stood. His face was lined with age, but his eyes burned with determination. 3,000 years have passed, yet the Council has not changed. They fear us because they know what humans are capable of. If we act wisely, we can reclaim what was stolen. Another council member, Sira Vaughn, spoke up. "It will not be easy. Their fleets are vast, their technology advanced. But if this information is true, we may have a chance. A small chance perhaps, but that is all we need." Adira nodded. "We must prepare carefully. We cannot rush. The galaxy has forgotten us, and that will be our advantage. We have hidden worlds, loyal citizens, and the patience of centuries. When the time comes, we will strike, not just to survive, but to reclaim our place." Plans began immediately. Human engineers and scientists analyzed the crystal's data. Fleet strategists began designing new starships, combining ancient designs with innovations developed in secrecy over millennia. Humans trained in ways their ancestors never imagined, simulating battles against council tactics, perfecting stealth maneuvers and mastering advanced weaponry. Yet, the human leaders knew that intelligence and technology alone would not be enough. They needed to remind the galaxy of what made humans unique, their courage, creativity, and will to survive. They began selecting teams for reconnaissance missions, scouting the territories controlled by the Council, testing their new ships and strategies. Every mission, every maneuver was a step toward reclaiming the stars. Meanwhile, in the shadows of Arendor, Adira discovered another secret. Beneath the city lay a network of tunnels leading to ancient archives. Here were artifacts from humanity's golden age, tools, weaponry, and records of past victories. These relics, combined with the crystal's information, gave humans a strategic edge no other species could match. As the weeks passed, a quiet determination settled over the planet. Children trained in tactics, engineers experimented with new technologies, and historians studied the rise and fall of past empires, learning from both victories and mistakes. Humanity was no longer a scattered, fearful species. They were becoming a force of calculated vengeance, ready to rise from the shadows. One night, Adira stood on a cliff overlooking Arendor's hidden cities. The twin moons reflected on the jagged mountains, casting silver light across the landscape. She held the crystal in her hands, feeling its warmth and the weight of history it carried. "We were cast down," she said softly, "but we are not gone. Not anymore. The Council believes we are weak. They do not know what has been growing in the dark. They do not know humanity." Below her, the city hummed with activity. Ships were being repaired, fleets were being built, and young pilots practiced maneuvers in the hidden skies. The people of Arendor worked quietly, each knowing that the moment of their return would change the galaxy forever. Adira smiled. The Council had thought 3,000 years of exile would break humanity's spirit. Instead, it had forged them anew. Patience, intelligence, and unity had become their weapons, and soon, the galaxy would see that humanity was not to be underestimated. The first spark of vengeance had been lit. It would grow into a fire that would sweep across the stars. A fire fueled by 3,000 years of hope, pain, and resilience. Humanity was ready to rise, and nothing, not fleets, not politics, not betrayal, would stop them. In the silent night, Adira whispered one final promise. "We will return, and when we do, the galaxy will remember humanity forever." The hidden cities of Arendor were alive with activity. Humans moved like a single organism, each person aware of their role in a plan centuries in the making. Engineers hunched over starship engines, adjusting energy conduits and power cores. Pilots trained in simulators that mirrored council formations, learning to anticipate attacks they had never faced. Scientists experimented with new technologies, blending the secrets uncovered in the ancient crystal with innovations grown in secrecy over millennia. In the central command tower, Adira Kyle reviewed the latest reports. Her mind raced with possibilities. The crystal had revealed weaknesses in the Council's communication networks, their supply routes, and even the overconfidence of many of their leaders. Humanity's greatest weapon would not just be technology, it would be surprise, adaptability, and the cunning that only humans could muster. Adira walked through the hallways, passing young cadets practicing maneuvers in zero-gravity chambers. Their faces were determined, their bodies trained for endurance. Each one had grown up hearing stories of humanity's former glory and ultimate betrayal. Now those stories were no longer tales. They were motivation, fuel for a return no one in the galaxy would expect. "Commander Thorn," she said, stepping into the Elder's office, "we have completed the first phase. Ships are ready, pilots trained, and preliminary recon missions planned. It is time to test our abilities against the galaxy beyond our hiding." Thorn, seated behind a polished metal desk, studied her with a calm intensity. "Remember, Adira, we do not attack blindly. The galaxy thinks we are weak. That belief will be our advantage. We strike with precision and retreat if needed. Every engagement is a lesson. We grow stronger with each one." Adira nodded, her eyes shining. "Understood. But we cannot wait too long. Every day the Council strengthens its hold. The longer we wait, the harder it will be to reclaim what is ours." In the black depths of space, humanity's first reconnaissance fleet moved quietly. Small ships, no larger than single-hull cruisers, slipped past Council patrols. invisible to even their most sensitive sensors. Each vessel was equipped with adaptive cloaking technology, refined over centuries and armed with experimental weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. Humans did not yet seek full war. They sought knowledge. The fleet was led by Captain Ryan Voss, a pilot whose reputation for cunning rivaled that of any council officer. His ship, the Resolute, glided silently through a dense asteroid belt, using the rocks as cover. Sensors detected faint council transmissions, but none could detect the humans. Ryan's voice echoed through the ship. All teams maintain formation. Remember speed and discretion. Engage only if necessary. Humanity has survived for 3,000 years because we choose our battles wisely. The fleet approached the outer boundary of a minor council system, a planet rich with resources and lightly defended. Adira and her team watched through holographic projections back on Arendor. Every movement of the fleet was carefully monitored. This mission was more than reconnaissance. It was the first proof that humanity could operate beyond its hidden worlds without being detected. As the human ship skimmed past Council satellites, a scout drone was spotted. It moved with precision, scanning for any sign of life. Ryan gave the order, "Deploy the phase shroud." The drone's sensors were confused, readings distorted, and it passed by without suspicion. A quiet cheer went up from the crew. Humanity's technology was working exactly as intended, yet the humans did not stop. They collected data on the planet's defenses, troop placements, and communication arrays. They mapped the positions of Council patrols across nearby star systems. Every piece of information would later become invaluable in planning a return not just for survival, but for vengeance. Back on Arendor, Adira analyzed the incoming data. The crystal had given them the blueprint of the Council's tactics, but nothing could prepare them for real-time adjustments. And yet humanity adapted. Algorithms learned from every movement, predicting Council responses. Pilots practiced maneuvers that no other species had attempted. Humanity's ingenuity was now their greatest weapon. "This is only the beginning," Adira said to her team. "Every mission we run gives us knowledge. Every observation brings us closer to reclaiming the stars. We are small now, but the galaxy has forgotten what humans are capable of. That forgetfulness is our advantage." In the shadows of Arendor, scientists worked tirelessly on weapon systems designed to exploit Council weaknesses. One device could disable a fleet's communication in seconds, leaving them blind. Another could manipulate gravitational fields to trap ships in place. Humanity had learned that brute force was not always the answer. Cleverness and creativity could accomplish more. Meanwhile, citizens of Arendor trained in ways their ancestors never imagined. Ground units practiced rapid deployment, infiltration techniques, and emergency repairs under extreme conditions. The planet had become a proving ground, a crucible forging a civilization that the galaxy believed extinct. Ryan Voss's fleet returned from their first mission, undetected and unchallenged. Debriefing showed that the Council remained unaware of human activity in their controlled space. It was proof that the humans' patient strategy was working. Adira greeted Ryan and his crew with pride. "You've proven what we suspected. The Council is complacent. They believe humanity is gone. They do not see us growing, learning, preparing, but they will." Ryan smiled, though fatigue showed in his eyes. "We saw the arrogance of the Council firsthand. They patrol, they scan, but they do not anticipate. That is our strength," Commander Thorne added. "Our enemies always underestimate the human spirit. That underestimation has allowed us to survive this long. Now it will allow us to reclaim the galaxy." Not all humans were content with patience. On one of the training grounds, young cadets practiced mock battles against holographic simulations of Council fleets. Among them was Lyra Kale, Adira's younger sister. Her movements were swift and precise, her mind already thinking like a seasoned strategist. "Why wait?" she asked her instructor. "If we are strong, why not strike now?" The instructor, a veteran named Jaren Voss, smiled. "Strength without wisdom can destroy us before we have a chance. Patience is as much a weapon as any starship or laser cannon. The Council believes we are weak. That belief is our advantage. When the time comes, we strike and no one will see it coming." Lyra frowned but understood. Humanity had survived for millennia because they had learned to wait, to adapt, and to strike at the perfect moment. Weeks turned into months. Humanity's fleet grew. Ships once confined to training simulations now sailed in coordinated formations across hidden corridors of space. Each pilot knew their role. Each engineer understood their ship's limits and potential. Each scientist continued refining technologies that would redefine warfare in the galaxy. A small success turned into another. A reconnaissance mission uncovered a minor council outpost controlling trade between two star systems. Humans observed the outpost's routines, noting when patrols were light, when supply ships arrived, and which officers held authority. It was clear that even the council, mighty as it seemed, was not perfect. Mistakes were everywhere. Humanity would learn from them. Adira stood once more on Arendor's cliffs looking toward the stars. Her heart swelled with pride and determination. "We are small," she said softly, "but the galaxy has forgotten us. They do not know the fire that has been burning in the dark for 3,000 years. They do not know what humans can do." The wind carried her words across the mountains, but the stars above seemed to listen. Humanity had begun its long, patient return. The first steps were small, quiet, and unnoticed, but every step brought them closer to vengeance, to justice, and to the recognition they had long been denied. In hidden starports, engineers worked day and night. Pilots drilled endlessly. Scouts gathered intelligence. Citizens trained for emergencies. Humanity was no longer merely surviving. They were reawakening, growing into a force the galaxy would never forget. And in the deepest chambers of Arendor, the crystal pulsed faintly, as if approving of humanity's progress. It had waited millennia for this moment, for humans ready to reclaim the stars. And now that moment had come. Humanity had begun its rise again. Soon the galaxy would feel the first tremors of a force it had long dismissed. Humanity was no longer hidden. They were awake, and the Council had yet to realize it. Humanity had grown silent but strong. The hidden fleets of Arendor moved through secret corridors of space, gathering intelligence, training, and preparing for the moment when they would no longer hide. Yet even in the darkness, whispers of human activity had begun to spread across the galaxy. Scouts from the Galactic Council had reported anomalies, ships that vanished without a trace, strange signals in sectors thought empty, and fleeting attacks on supply convoys that left no evidence of who had struck. The Council, a coalition of species that prided themselves on vigilance and control, could no longer ignore the signs. Their leaders convened in the luminous chamber of Council Station Orion, a massive orbital fortress at the center of their empire. Tall, imposing beings of various forms and colors sat in semicircles, each radiating authority. High Chancellor Zorin, a sleek, silver-scaled being known for ruthlessness, spoke first. "Reports confirm the impossible. Humanity, thought extinct, has returned. We cannot allow them to grow." Another council member, a towering crystalline entity named Vectra, added, "They are bold, but still small. They may have survived, but their strength is nothing compared to our combined fleets." Zorin's eyes narrowed. "Underestimating them was our first mistake 3,000 years ago. We will not make it again. Deploy our forces. Crush them before they become a threat. Show the galaxy that the Council remains supreme." Meanwhile, humans on Arendor were unaware of the Council's immediate plans. They were preparing for reconnaissance missions, not full-scale battles. Adira Kale studied the reports from their scouts with careful attention. "We must remain cautious," she said. "Our goal is intelligence and preparation. Confronting the Council directly now would be reckless. We are small, but we are clever. That must be enough." Yet fate moved faster than planning. A Council strike fleet, alerted by minor skirmishes, had already jumped into the sector where humanity had recently been active. Massive warships, each bristling with energy cannons and armed drones, cut through space like predators. Sensors aboard human ships detected the approaching fleet, and alarms blared through the corridors of hidden bases. Captain Ryan Voss stood on the bridge of the Resolute, scanning the vast formation of Council ships. "They found us," he muttered, voice steady but tense. "All teams get into formation. Cloaks ready. We may need to move fast." Adira watched the projection in the command chamber, heart pounding. "They're stronger than we expected. But we have the advantage of preparation. They don't know what we can do. Use every trick we have learned in secrecy." The first encounter came near the edges of a dense asteroid field. Humans used the terrain as cover, weaving between enormous rocks while launching small, precise attacks on the Council scouts. Energy pulses disabled sensors, disrupted communication arrays, and allowed human ships to vanish before the Council could retaliate. Impressive, Thorn said from the command chamber. They may have numbers, but humans have ingenuity. Remember this moment. Adapt, survive, and learn. That is our strength. In space, Captain Rian's squadron executed a daring maneuver. Using a combination of stealth drives and gravitational slingshots around asteroids, they appeared behind the Council scouts, striking from an unexpected angle. The Council ships fired blindly, wasting energy and ammunition on empty space. Humans disabled key systems on several vessels without losing a single ship. Adira's voice crackled over comms. Well done, Ryan. That is the power of surprise, precision, and human cunning. Retreat slowly and report everything. We must learn from this engagement. But the Council was not defeated. High Chancellor Zoran had anticipated human tactics and was already sending reinforcements. Massive carriers launched swarms of drones, and their main fleet adjusted formations to encircle human positions. Humanity's fleet now faced overwhelming odds. In the command chamber, Thorn leaned forward. This is our first real battle. Every decision counts. Remember, we are not here to win with brute force. We are here to survive, learn, and weaken the enemy's confidence. Show them that humans cannot be controlled. The humans executed a series of calculated retreats and feints. Each movement was designed to confuse the Council, leading them into areas of low gravity and unstable asteroid belts. Human ships used energy pulses to create temporary blind spots in Council sensors, allowing them to slip past seemingly impenetrable forces. During the skirmish, a Council general named Varn Kell attempted to corner the human fleet. His pride and overconfidence were evident. He believed his fleet's sheer size could crush humanity in minutes, but humans anticipated such arrogance. Using newly designed magnetic field disruptors, Rian's squadron disabled the engines of several ships, forcing Kell's fleet into chaos. Adira watched the events unfold with satisfaction. They are learning, she whispered. Every mistake they make is a lesson for us. They think they are powerful, but they do not understand humanity. After hours of maneuvers, skirmishes, and small victories, the human fleet managed a careful withdrawal. No human ships were lost, while the Council fleet suffered unexpected damage. More importantly, humans had gathered valuable intelligence, fleet formations, patrol schedules, and strategic weak points that could be exploited in future engagements. Back on Arendor, celebrations were quiet but meaningful. Humanity had survived their first direct confrontation with the Council, and they had learned that their combination of intelligence, patience, and courage could hold its own against even the mightiest foe. Adira addressed the Council chamber. Today was only a small victory, but it proves what we have always known. The Council believes we are weak. They underestimate human creativity, courage, and determination. They will continue to make mistakes, and we will continue to learn from them. Our time is coming, Commander Thorn nodded. This engagement shows the truth. Humans are not just survivors. We are strategists, innovators, and fighters. Each battle, no matter the scale, strengthens us. Remember this day as the moment the galaxy began to see humanity's return. Yet even in their victory, the humans knew caution was necessary. The Council would not forget. Reinforcements would continue to arrive, and future battles could be far more dangerous. Adira turned to her younger sister Lyra, who had been observing from the command chamber. This is just the beginning. We have shown that we can fight, but now we must plan for what comes next. Our enemies will adapt, and we must always be one step ahead. Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. I understand. But I also feel we can do more. Humanity has waited for this moment for 3,000 years. We are ready. Adira smiled. Yes, we are ready. But readiness is not just courage. It is knowledge, patience, and strategy. Remember that. The Council is powerful, but it is not perfect. Every weakness we find, every mistake they make, brings us closer to victory. In the weeks following the skirmish, human scouts moved even deeper into Council space, observing, learning, and preparing for larger confrontations. They documented weaknesses, recorded patterns, and refined tactics that would allow them to strike decisively when the time was right. Council fleets repaired, regrouped, and prepared for the next encounter, unaware that their overconfidence had already played into humanity's hands. The humans had turned their first confrontation into a masterclass of survival, strategy, and intelligence gathering. Adira once again stood on Arendor's cliffs at night, gazing at the stars. The sky was filled with distant flashes of light from passing ships and activity in hidden sectors. Her heart was steady, her mind sharp. "They are powerful," she said softly. "But we are human. We endure, we adapt, and we overcome. This is only the first step. The Council will learn what it means to face humanity again." The crystal that had started it all pulsed faintly beside her, as if echoing her thoughts. Humanity had survived its first true battle. They had not only defended themselves but had gained knowledge, confidence, and proof that they could challenge the mightiest force in the galaxy. The fire of vengeance, born 3,000 years ago, now burned brighter. Humanity's patience, strategy, and courage would not only guide them through the darkness, they would one day lead them to victory. And the Council, mighty and proud, had only just begun to realize that humanity's return was not a fleeting threat. It was a promise. The galaxy had begun to notice the quiet stirrings of humanity. Small skirmishes, invisible fleets, and unexplained disruptions in Council-controlled space had created whispers among other civilizations. Many had long assumed humans extinct, their empire erased from memory. Now rumors of clever small fleets outmaneuvering Council forces spread rapidly. Some species watched from afar, curious. Others watched with unease. On Arendor, humans prepared for more ambitious missions. Adira Kyle stood at the helm of the command chamber, studying star charts and Council fleet movements. The first encounters had proven something critical. Humans were underestimated. Every mistake the Council made could be turned to humanity's advantage. And now it was time to strike deeper. "Prepare the strike fleet," Adira commanded. "We will test the Council's defenses at their nerve center in this sector. It is a minor stronghold, but taking it will show them that humans are not only back, they are precise, intelligent, and unstoppable when united." Commander Thorne stepped forward, his expression grave but approving. "This mission will require coordination across every division. Pilots, engineers, and tacticians, everyone must operate perfectly. One mistake could expose us. Remember, precision, patience, and strategy are our weapons." Young cadets, including Lyra Kale, trained relentlessly. They studied Council patterns, anticipating their responses, and practicing rapid maneuvers in both simulations and live exercises. Humanity's greatest advantage was not numbers, but intelligence, adaptability, and the ability to learn faster than any other species. The strike fleet moved silently through a dense asteroid belt, using the irregular terrain as cover. Ships of all sizes glided like shadows, their engines muted, their energy signatures minimal. This fleet was different from the reconnaissance teams. It was prepared for conflict, but with a focus on intelligence and minimal confrontation. Captain Ryan Voss led the vanguard, his ship, the Resolute, moving ahead to scout the Council stronghold. "All teams maintain formation," he ordered. "We strike only when conditions favor us. Our goal is to disrupt, gather information, and demonstrate human ingenuity. Do not underestimate them, but never overestimate them either." As they neared the target, Council defenses were detected: sensor arrays, orbital weapons platforms, and patrol drones. The humans moved carefully, exploiting gaps in patrol schedules. Using gravitational distortions and cloaking fields, small squadrons infiltrated the outer perimeters, disabling weapon nodes and communications quietly. Adira observed every movement from Arendor, coordinating remotely. "Good. Every disabled system is a lesson. Every observation teaches us something new. Continue with caution, but push forward. This is how humans reclaim their place, by understanding their enemies better than the enemy understands them." Inside the Council stronghold, alarms suddenly blared. One patrol had detected a minor anomaly, a flicker of cloaked energy, but it was already too late. Humans had moved past it, their fleet expertly exploiting the Council's slow reaction. Small teams disabled power relays, disrupted sensors, and planted data probes to extract strategic information. Captain Ryan maneuvered the Resolute into a narrow orbital canyon, using the terrain to avoid detection by larger weapons platforms. "They think their stronghold is secure," he said. "But humans see what others cannot. Focus on precision, not destruction. Every action here builds knowledge. Every lesson brings us closer to victory." Meanwhile, back on Arendor, Adira analyzed the data streaming from the strike fleet. Patterns emerged: overconfidence among Council officers, delayed communications between patrols, and predictable reinforcement schedules. These weaknesses were subtle, almost invisible, but humans detected them. It was a reminder of what they had always known. Ingenuity and intelligence could triumph where brute force could not. During the operation, a council general attempted to rally his forces to repel the intruders. General Varn Kell, still recovering from the earlier skirmish, underestimated humanity's tactical skill. He sent a fleet of smaller warships to intercept the human strike team, confident in their superiority. But humanity anticipated this. Using gravitational manipulation fields, Rian's squadron created false energy signatures, drawing the council vessels into a narrow canyon. There, hidden human ships disabled engines and weapon systems of multiple enemy vessels without causing full destruction. One by one, the council's reinforcements became trapped, vulnerable, and ineffective. Adira's voice came over the comms. Excellent. Remember, we do not destroy unless necessary. Every ship we disable teaches us more about their technology, their strategy, and their weaknesses. Humanity fights smarter, not only harder. The strike operation continued for hours. By the end, the human team had not only disabled critical systems but had captured detailed information about fleet movements, supply routes, and council officer hierarchies. Every piece of data was a step toward larger victories. As the fleet returned to Arendor, they were met with quiet celebration. Every mission, every successful maneuver reinforced a new truth. Humans were not merely surviving, they were reawakening. The galaxy had underestimated them, and that underestimation was humanity's greatest weapon. Commander Thorn addressed the gathered crew. Today proves what we have always known. Humans endure, humans adapt, and humans overcome. Every challenge, every opponent strengthens us. This is the turning point. The Council cannot ignore us any longer. Adira stepped forward, her eyes bright with determination. This is not just a mission, she said. It is proof that humanity is returning with purpose. We are more than survivors. We are innovators, strategists, and leaders, and we will not stop until the galaxy remembers humanity's name. Meanwhile, alien civilizations beyond the Council's control began to notice humanity's success. Some were curious, seeking allies in an unpredictable galaxy. Others were inspired, realizing that the Council's power was not absolute. Traders, explorers, and minor governments began to quietly offer intelligence, supplies, or support to the humans, intrigued by a species thought extinct but now rising with unmatched skill and courage. This shifting perception strengthened humanity's position. They were no longer isolated. They were building not only a fleet, but also a network of potential allies, ready for the day the Council would face humans in full force. In a training chamber on Arendor, young cadets studied holographic simulations of the latest engagement. Lyra Kale worked alongside her peers, analyzing every tactic, every maneuver, and every decision made during the strike. They are not invincible, she said. Every mistake they make shows us how clever humans are, and we will learn from it. Her instructor, Jaren Voss, nodded. Exactly. Humanity's strength is not in sheer numbers, but in our ability to see, think, and adapt. Every mission is a lesson. Every observation is a weapon. Remember this. We fight with brains as much as we fight with ships. Lyra smiled. I understand. And when the time comes, we will be ready. Weeks later, Adira reviewed the captured data from the Council stronghold. Patterns in fleet movement suggested growing discontent within the Council itself. Some factions were unhappy with leadership decisions, others with resource allocation, and a few were suspicious of one another. This internal tension presented new opportunities. Humanity could exploit these fractures, turning a single united enemy into a divided one. This is our chance, Adira said to Commander Thorn. The Council is powerful, yes, but not perfect. They underestimate humans. They assume loyalty within their ranks, and they ignore our potential. That is the advantage we must use. Our next steps will shape the galaxy. Thorn's eyes gleamed. We have turned the tide in small ways. Now we prepare to strike larger, to influence and to grow our strength. Patience is still key, but so is momentum. The turning point is here, and humanity is leading it. In the skies above Arendor, the human fleet glided silently. Ships of all sizes, gleaming under starlight, were ready for the challenges ahead. Engineers checked systems, pilots reviewed strategies, and scientists prepared new technologies. Every mission, every engagement had sharpened them, making humans not just survivors but masters of their destiny. Adira stood once more on the cliffs, gazing at the stars. The Council believes we are small and weak. They do not see what we have become, but soon they will. The galaxy will remember humanity, not as a defeated species, but as a force that endures, adapts, and rises stronger than ever. The crystal, pulsing faintly beside her, seemed to echo her words. Humanity had reached its turning point. They had moved from hidden survivors to cunning strategists, capable of influencing events beyond their worlds. The first cracks in the Council's confidence had appeared, and human ingenuity had exploited them. The fire of vengeance burned brighter now. Humanity's patience, strategy, and courage were no longer enough. They were growing into a force the galaxy would soon have to reckon with. And when the time came, humans would not just fight. They would lead, inspire, and reclaim what was once theirs. The galaxy had seen the first signs of humanity's return, and it would not forget. The galaxy held its breath. 3,000 years of exile, silence, and preparation had brought humanity to this moment. From the hidden planet of Arendor, fleets of humans moved outward with purpose. Ships of every size, gleaming under starlight, advanced through space cloaked in adaptive technology, ready to confront the Council in full force. Adira Kale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her hands lightly resting on the control panel. Her eyes, sharp and determined, scanned the holographic map of the Council's central bastion, a massive orbital fortress, heavily defended by fleets, energy shields, and automated defenses. Every detail had been studied for months, every weakness noted, and every strategy rehearsed. "This is it," she whispered. 3,000 years of waiting, 3,000 years of learning. Today humanity returns. Commander Railthorn stood beside her, calm and resolute. "We strike not only with ships and weapons, but with our intelligence, courage, and unity. Remember, humans have endured more than any other species. That endurance has made us stronger than they expect." The fleet approached the Council's stronghold. Massive energy barriers shimmered around the fortress, and Council ships patrolled its perimeter, alert and ready. But humans had learned patience, stealth, and strategy. Using gravitational distortions and cloaking maneuvers, they slipped past the outer defenses, disabling communications and neutralizing patrols without alerting the full fleet. Captain Rian Voss led the vanguard, weaving between energy pulses and debris. "Focus on precision," he ordered over comms. "Every move counts. Humanity fights not by brute force alone, but by exploiting weakness, anticipating responses, and acting with cunning." Adira coordinated the operation from the command bridge. Human ships moved like shadows, striking with careful timing. Sensors, weapons, and power grids were disabled strategically, forcing the Council fleet into confusion. This was no mindless attack. It was a demonstration of human ingenuity, creativity, and discipline. Inside the Council fortress, alarms blared. High Chancellor Zoran watched in disbelief as human ships bypassed the strongest defenses. "Impossible," she hissed. "They cannot have grown so strong." General Varn Kell, humbled by previous encounters, tried to rally the defense, but the humans had already anticipated his maneuvers. Using feints, energy disruptions, and gravitational traps, human forces immobilized several key vessels, cutting off reinforcements. The Council's pride and overconfidence worked against them, just as humans had planned. Adira's voice echoed across the fleet. "We are not here to destroy recklessly. We are here to reclaim what was ours, to demonstrate that humanity cannot be ignored. Every move we make teaches the galaxy a lesson. Do not underestimate the human spirit." The human fleet split into multiple squads, each with specific objectives. One team targeted communications arrays, cutting off the Council's ability to coordinate defenses. Another disabled supply lines and drone launchers, weakening their operational efficiency. Small tactical units infiltrated docking bays, capturing data and ensuring no opportunity went unobserved. Captain Rian led the most daring mission, a direct assault on the Council's central command hub. The path was narrow, heavily guarded, and dangerous, but human ingenuity turned obstacles into advantages. Using magnetic field manipulators, stealth drives, and decoy signals, they reached the inner sanctum undetected. Inside the hub, Ryan and his team confronted the leaders responsible for humanity's exile 3,000 years ago. The confrontation was tense but precise. Humans disabled key systems, captured strategic data, and presented the Council leaders with a choice: surrender and reform, or face calculated dismantling of their control. Adira monitored the operation, proud of the precision and courage displayed. Humanity had fought without losing focus, without succumbing to fear or anger. They were strong, not because of sheer numbers, but because of intelligence, resilience, and moral resolve. Outside, in orbit around the fortress, other human squads completed their objectives. Council ships were immobilized, energy shields were disrupted, and the entire stronghold teetered on the brink of collapse. But humanity did not seek destruction for the sake of it. Instead, they demonstrated their superiority and offered a path to cooperation. Adira addressed the council leaders through secure communication channels. 3,000 years ago, humanity was cast down. We were exiled, erased, and underestimated. Today we return, not to destroy, but to reclaim what was stolen and to offer a chance for a new beginning. Join us, reform, and together we can build a galaxy where all species are respected, not ruled by fear. Silence followed. The council, stunned by the precision, courage, and wisdom of the human assault, could not immediately respond. Some species were shaken, realizing that their arrogance had blinded them to the enduring strength of humanity. Back on Arendor, the people celebrated quietly but meaningfully. Families, engineers, pilots, and cadets alike understood that the decisive moment had arrived. Humanity had proven itself against the mightiest force in the galaxy. They had not only survived, they had triumphed through strategy, courage, and unity. Lyra Kale, standing beside her sister, smiled. "We did it," she said softly. "Humanity is no longer hidden. The galaxy will remember us," Adira nodded. "Yes, but this is only the beginning. Strength comes with responsibility. Humanity's rise is not just about vengeance. It is about leadership, protection, and ensuring the mistakes of the past do not repeat." Commander Thorne addressed the citizens over communication networks. "We have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. But remember, our true victory is in how we use this power. We fight for survival, yes, but also for fairness, for justice, and for a future where humanity is respected, not feared." Across the galaxy, reactions began to spread. Minor civilizations and independent worlds reached out to humanity, offering alliances, trade, and support. Many had long been under council influence and now saw hope in a fairer balance of power. Humans once believed extinct were now beacons of ingenuity, courage, and resilience. In the council, divisions became apparent. Some leaders recognized the wisdom in Adira's offer, seeing a chance to rebuild and cooperate. Others resisted, unwilling to admit that humanity had surpassed them. But even the resistant factions had to acknowledge one undeniable truth. Humans had returned stronger than ever, and the galaxy would never forget their presence again. In the days following the confrontation, humanity consolidated its strength. The captured data and alliances allowed them to stabilize regions formerly under council control. Planets once ruled with fear now found new leadership guided by human principles, intelligence, fairness, and the ability to adapt. Adira and Lyra stood once more on the cliffs of Arendor, gazing at the stars. 3,000 years ago, humanity was cast down, Adira said. We survived, adapted, and returned stronger than ever. Today, the galaxy sees the true strength of humans. Not only our power, but our mind, our courage, and our spirit. Lyra smiled. We have reclaimed what was lost, and we will continue to protect it, not with fear, but with wisdom and strength. Humanity has returned, for good. The crystal that had begun the journey pulsed faintly beside them, a reminder of the centuries of knowledge, patience, and preparation that had brought humans to this day. Humanity's vengeance had not been mindless or cruel. It had been precise, intelligent, and moral. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had returned not only to reclaim its place, but to inspire, lead, and guide. They had endured, adapted, and triumphed against overwhelming odds. And as they looked to the future, one truth remained clear. Humanity was no longer hidden, no longer underestimated, and no longer bound by exile. The fire of 3,000 years had burned bright, and now humanity stood as a beacon in the galaxy, a symbol of endurance, intelligence, and the unyielding strength of the human spirit. The stars themselves seemed to acknowledge it. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would remember them forever.